What's up, everybody? How is everyone doing today on this fine Wednesday? Hopefully, everybody can hear me. Let me know in the chat if you can. I have everything set up properly, but that doesn't mean that it's going to work as I want it to right off. So, y'all let me know if you can hear me. What's happening, everybody? Um, Hope everybody has been doing well over these last few days. It's been a week since I was on last. Can you believe it? I actually showed up again this week. It's been crazy busy week already. But we are on here to do some stuff today. It's not going to be just yammering my jaws. I'm actually going to be doing something, hopefully something that will help people out. And again, that's part of what my website's about. That's the website right there on the screen. Let's see, where's my mic? My mic is right here, so it's going to be like that. So there's my website. If you have any questions about RC, or you have any questions about stacks, or any questions about burners, any questions about RC at all, uh, message me there. There is a form where you can fill out to get to my email, or you can just, my email is listed there too. So check it out. If you're interested in burners, check it out. Check out the links in the description because it shows you how to become a member. It shows you how to throw me a PayPal donation if you feel like it, or about super chats, merchandise, all that stuff. Check it out. Just check it out. Check it out. Check it out. So that's enough about that. So it gets back to the shout outs because I see a lot of people have been here chatting already, so I got to go back. The screen's going to flash a couple times, but got to go back and check everybody out. So if I miss anyone, I apologize, but sometimes the chat skips, so I can't always go back and see who's here. But look like I see Big Chris was here. What's up with Mr. Big Chris? How you doing? He is a member. Learn how to become a member. Check the description, the link in the description. Jeff and Laura, Alabama, what is happening, my friend? Mr. Mike Bird from across the pond, what's up with you? Mr. Schlapnuts, what's up with you? How you doing, Spencer? Who else? Let me keep scrolling. Um, Lots of talking. Mr. Pete Lane, what's happening with you, my friend? Jack78, howdy, howdy. Mr. Andy Cho, what is up? I plan to fly this weekend too, so if you guys are in the area, plan on being out there on Saturday in Livermore. So, who else? Mr. Snow River, what is up? Guys, these are members too, so if you want to become a member, just look in the description down below. Mr. Med Scott, what's up? Mr. Craig Bevan, what's happening? JSRC Hobbies, what is happening? Tim Justins, what's up? Defrost42371, what is up? Pops305, Mr. Angelo Lopez, what is up? Mr. Jelonius Funk, who else? Mr. Garfield Houston. I hope you got to see that video I posted last week because I gave you props for all the stuff you've been doing with the fans, testing the fans on higher cell count. So I did it last weekend, a couple weekends ago with my F-22, and it was fabulous. But Garfield Houston's the man, guys. If you haven't seen Garfield Houston's channel, check him out. Subscribe to his stuff because he always posts cool things that other people don't do, and he should have a lot more subscribers than he does. So help the brother out. The Fred Barron, that is the man as well because he has always supported me from I don't know how far back. But what is up, Mr. Fred Barron? Thank you for being here, Mr. Anthony Lachey. What is up? Uh, Another member, Mr. Paul McNeil. Lots of flyovers. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Paul McNeil, Mr. Airvex. What is up, Micah? How you doing? Wild Bill. What is up, Wild Bill? So thank you guys for all being here. Hopefully my voice doesn't crap out, but it's been doing weird stuff all day. I hope it doesn't mean I'm getting sick or a cold or anything, but I don't know. But anyway, that's it. So what is up, everybody? Don't want to take forever with this part because I want to get right into working on the fan. So that's going to be the subject of this show. Just so if everybody knows, Aerofoam, Global Aero Foam has these new 105 millimeter planes out. The stock fan that comes with it is a Change Sun 105 millimeter fan, and they just put them together and put them in the plane. They are not balanced, and they will shake themselves to death and fly apart in the plane if you're not careful. So we're going to balance them on live today, so you guys will get to see how to do it, and not only help your plane sound better, but use less amps, not shake all the crap apart in your plane, and go faster. So we'll do that in a little bit. So, but let's do the usual, which is get to some questions. So I think people are already putting questions in there. So let's start looking. So, Mr. Airvex, what does he say? Looking to upgrade the 2860. Interesting. So, Micah, if you have a 2860 and you already have the burner for it, you can make that work on the 3060, but it either requires a lot of grinding on the inside of that adapter with a Dremel, or you grind a little bit, get a heat gun, and then make it work. Or you have me send you a new 30 millimeter adapter, either one. You can use it. Nah, I wouldn't use the 32. It's too big. You have to put a whole bunch of tape in there to make it fit. But so 28 millimeter will work if you have patience and a Dremel. That will work. Or you just get a heat gun. I'd suggest using a Dremel. It'll take a while, but you'll get it to fit. On the adapter, not the motor. Use a Dremel on the motor. I mean, on the adapter, it'll work. So, who else? Let's see. Dude, I still can't get over that. Did Banana Hobby help you at all? Because that's just ridiculous. So check out what Angelo Lopez said. He's somebody I fly with. He used to live locally, so we'd fly all the time. But what did they do, Angelo? Because that's kind of crazy. I can't blame that on you if you hadn't even put the thing together yet. But hopefully you can make it out, because it should be a decent day. I plan on being there all day if I do go out. So Jeff and Laura, Alabama. So also, guys, I had a video set up for the T7A where it was basically all three of my flights together. For some reason, it would not render. I couldn't get it to upload or to save it to my phone so that I could upload it to YouTube. So I had to cut it up, and I'll post the maiden flight, the second flight, then the third flight. So I was going to do it today, but I ran out of time. I'll probably have it set to debut tomorrow. It's about an 8-minute long video. And then I'll do the others after. Jeff in Laura, Alabama was asking, ready to use the manual throws for the X Flight 80. I kind of started there. I just went off of what I kind of know works for like F-16s. The elevator throw, actually, I messaged Nate and had him give me his percentages, and he told me. But I don't know what they are offhand. The plane flew excellent. I didn't use the stock X-Fly fan. I took that thing out. I didn't even fly it with that fan. I put the, I'll show you some fans today too, because I have a box full of new fans. But I used the new 36 millimeter motor, 2000 kV FMS 12 blade, and flew amazing. Sounds really good. It's a different looking plane, but it has a really good flight characteristics. I have a pretty expensive receiver in there with AS3X that worked pretty good. So it was flew well. The gyro was barely on, but it flew really good. And I got 3 very good flights. All the flights were with different batteries, and it didn't matter. The last flight that I had, I flew with a 7200, and I just moved it back probably about 3/4 to an inch. It flew amazing. So great plane. There will be more videos of it coming. And Jeff and Laura, Alabama, I can always share the if you use Spectrum, it'll all translate over. I'll just go through the percentages, and that's it. So yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out Garfield Houston's page, please do. Number one, he doesn't have nearly enough subscribers for all the cool stuff that he does. But check out his page or his YouTube profile because he's got stuff that nobody else has even considered doing. Especially the trying things on higher cell count, and I'm actually going to do that too. I have some of the freewing 9 blades. The 80 millimeter 9 blade in runners, and he's been running those on 7 and 8 cells. So I'm going to try them on 7 cells and see how they work. Because I didn't like the way that the fan didn't hardly have any mid range, but I know that they are um, being a little conservative with the way they set it up. So after seeing what Garfield did, that proves it. So check the guy out. Check out his page, his profile. Good dude, and he posts lots of good content and lots of data to back up what he's talking about, which very few people do. I don't even always post data. I just post what I do. So anyway, check out Garfield. Cool guy. Miss Rachel Barrett, I think you are all the way from Australia, if I remember right. Hello to you. Howdy, howdy. Let's see. I gotta get caught up. What's up, Mr. Reckham Roy? How you doing, buddy? Do blame me and refuse to help. See, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. If it's brand new and you plug it in, I'd figure out a way to get a hold of somebody that's like a manager. Go Karen on them and get to the manager and say, I've never flown this plane and I plugged it in and it caught on fire. You know, you don't need to talk about EC5 versus XT90. None of that crap. Just say it was plugged in right and it went poof. They better do something for you. That's not right. That is just not right at all. Make them go Karen on them. Okay, so cool, Jeff. I have an NX10 too, so I'll just one of these days when I do my when I do a flight, I'll put it in the on the video when I'm flying, and it'll show you the plane. The only thing that I wouldn't think the throws weren't too bad. Just it depends on if you're flying with a gyro or if you're flying without. I think you'll be all right. Is the Neptune that flying wing? Wild Bill? The flying wing EDF? Because if that's it, I have flown it. It's funky, but it does fly okay. So, Pete, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the X-Fly stuff? Because yeah, there have been some issues. The X-Fly fans work okay. I just dislike the high amp draw. So I took mine out because the new FMS fan actually puts out more with about 15 to 20 less amps. So check it out. And yes, Garfield is bad bone, dudes. He's serious about RC. He uses FR Sky stuff that gives you lots of telemetry and data, so it's cool. You can hear all the callouts, and pretty cool. Yeah, see. Yes, no, you're right. I haven't done that yet. I haven't. You know, everybody flies different, so I don't want to send him the. I'll just show him what I do. So, mainly because of Expo. I use a lot of Expo. A lot of people don't like that, but I don't want my controls bleeding over, so I usually change them up. So if there's no other questions, I want to get started on this fan balancing. I've already got the table set up. I just have to go get my headphones from upstairs so that my phone won't echo, and then we will get going. And then I can still answer questions and stuff as we're going. I'll have my my tablet with the chat pulled up. So, Jeff, I think that's a good plan. The ailerons are pretty responsive because they're pretty big. So the only thing that I think that they might have been a little off on was the elevator throw because it's so huge. But it flew really good, really good. It's a full flying tail though, so I'll have to double check and see. But, yeah, so y'all got any other questions? If not, I mean, and like I said, if you got questions, you can always ask them during the stream too. That's no big deal. Cat's been messy up here in the window. Anyway, so the Fred Baron, the T7 looks pretty funky to me, especially the nose with it being all flat. I mean, I'm just giving you my opinion. I know you're asking Jeff, but it was a weird looking plane. Is a weird looking plane, but it flies really good. It's pretty impressed with how it flew. Does fly like an F-18, but it also 16. And then it also flies like an F-35. So it's just a good plane. The foam is really good, and it has good detail on it. It just looks different. I mean, I'm not saying it's ugly. It just looks different than other stuff out there, and it is a trainer. It flies like a trainer, but it also flies, like I said, it flies a lot like an F-18, some like an F-16, and some like an F-35. But it has that trainer aspect to it. So, but it's fast, and I had it at half throttle, and it was still moving pretty good too. So you'll hear when I post that video. It's a good flying plane. I don't know how it flies with the X-Fly. There he is. I was waiting for you to show up, Scott, because he's gonna. This is the guy who's fan unbalancing. So get started on that in a few minutes. But yeah, so the it flies really good. I checked everything over really good before because I know Nate had some issues with his. He had to go through and redo some connectors. Mine was okay. Only issue I had was lining up one of the holes on the tail, but I did get that to work. So it's a good plane. I think X-Fly did a pretty good job. The X-Fly motor is going to be a little bit hard on batteries. And I'll talk more about these fans later on because I have a box over there with brand new fans. I have one for my F-15 that's going to get swapped out. And then one for my... I'm basically changing the X-Fly fans, taking them out and putting other stuff. And yes, looking up, he's right. And from what I'm remembering, the full-scale T7A has bits and pieces from all the successful planes. So it's got like F-16 gear. I think the motor's based on the F-16s. The wing is like the F-18. So it's a good plane. It's the gear's really cool. I like the lights on it. But we'll see. So let's see what Airvex was saying. If you want to do aerobatics, should it? Both of them are good. The T7A seems to be a little bit more forgiving. And again, it's a trainer, so it's going to be. The F-18s can bite you if you're not careful. If it's the FMS, it won't. FMS is a good plane. But the T7A, T7A does everything. And you'll see the flights. I did a couple slow rolls. I did some fast rolls, did loops. I didn't really do any slow speed stuff because the plane didn't like to slow down. It is a little tippy. I had a crosswind when I was flying. But it is tippy, yes. Snow River, it does tip. I caught it, so it didn't drag, but it started to tip in a crosswind. But the ailerons are really responsive even at slow speeds, so that's how I got the wing to go back down. It tipped up and I hit an aileron and it went back down. It slows down really well. You don't need flaps. I would discourage using flaperons on it because then it'll make it tip stally and weird. But as soon as you land, and as soon as you get it below flying speed, pull full up, and it slows right down because of all that extra drag from the stabilators being kicked up. But it flew great. Fun plane. Looking forward to flying it again. And I like the fact that it flew on a 5,000, a 5,200, and a 7,200, and it flew the same on all of them. A little bit more punch with the 7,200, but it didn't fly any different. So, I mean, I know people are going to be tempted to do it, but I don't think you need them. You'll see when I land it, it lands really slow. If you're on grass, you for sure don't need it. Issue I have with flaperons is that it makes the plane tip stally. And that's only tip stally because people use too much ailerons, too much elevator, or they get too slow. So it's better just to come in faster. But it's not even really faster. It lands really slow, really slow. It's a good plane. So, and yes, the servos are smooth. Now, this is a weird thing about the servos. I noticed that when it's colder, the more you move them, the faster they go. And I noticed the same sort of thing with the Sirius too. Um, I'll get back to that Wreck 'Em Roy. It is similar to the F-35, and I'll tell you how in a minute. So the servos are smooth, but they speed up. So you move the ailerons, and as you move them, it goes faster and faster and faster and faster. So I don't know if that's just the way they're designed, or if it was because it was colder. Um, so it is like the F-35. How do I put it? It's like the F-35 in looks. So as it's going away, it looks like an F-35. Um, so it does have flying characteristics similar to the F-35. Um, not in a bad way, but in a good way. So it's weird. It flies like all of those planes. It's strange. But it does land incredible. It flew great. It's very predictable. Um, just put it in that landing attitude and use your throttle to control your sink rate, and you're good. And yes, that's the way I fly too. I use a lot of expo. I don't remember how much I put on the elevator, but I smoothed it out because the plane is very responsive. If I'm out of sync, let me know. I got new hardware for my internet, so everything should be way better now. Because I was suffering from some old equipment. All right, hold on. Let's see. What about now? Is it still out? It's out. I know what it is. Just have to reset my camera. Better, worse? Seem better or worse? Let me know. Let me know. Okay, so somebody's starting. Okay. Well, people are yammering. Chat. Okay. Okay, cool. So I haven't unplugged my camera, so that could be part of it. But so I won't be using this camera for long because we're going to be switching to the phone because I'm going to use this for my for the fan balancing side. And I see that there's more people showing up, which is perfect. So let me get my phone set up, and we will get that portion of the show going. So give me just a second. Be right back. All right, so I've got my mic on because I'm still setting stuff up, so I don't want it to be blank. But I'm setting up the camera, so give me just a second. But I'm getting set up to do the rest. I'm just gonna the balance set up. Everybody can see. And then we will get started. But I have Scott was cool enough to send. He sent the fan, but he also sent some other parts. So we are going to look at all of that stuff and get stuff set up and going as it should be. Close that. Let's give me a second here. So I have a really bright light here, which is good. Hopefully it'll be in a get a little close. So there we go. Okay. So it will. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Now let's see. Yes, camera is off. It's off on purpose. So give me a few minutes, guys. Just setting up the last bit, then we'll go. So that part's set. So I just the other thing. Let's make sure it joins the studio. Almost there. Okay. Boom. There's the camera. And this needs to be gone. Solo layout. So this is going to be all. You guys need to let me know too if you can hear, because I'm going a little bit away from my computer. So if you have a hard time hearing, let me know. Because I'll be sitting a little ways away. What's up, Hanger 51? How are you doing, my friend? Kenny. So let's see. All right, so I got that fan. So like I was saying, I haven't messed with the fan at all. This is the first time. All I did was plug it in and make sure it was going the right direction. Beyond that, I haven't done anything. So me pulling it apart is going to be done for the first time here with you guys. So we will get to do it all together. But hopefully it shouldn't be too hard to balance. But I got to change that rotor out, and I'll show you why. I'm getting my chat set up right now. But I will show you why. Because the rotor has some little nicks and cuts in them. And Okay, so if you're having any problems hearing me, let me know. All right, so let's get that off of the screen, and we are set to go. So, sorry for the long set. Oh, Mr. Tim Tuton, what's up? Thank you very much for the super chat. So let's get started on this thing here. So I'm gonna sit down. I'm a little ways away from my shoes. Because I might just switch to my phone. Actually, just to be safe, I'm gonna do. Can you hear me now? So let me know if you guys can hear. Video is frozen. What about now? Can you see me? Is the mic better now? Just let me know if you can hear. Okay. Just making sure, because the other mic was cutting out, I think, because I was too far away. So we're on the other Bluetooth headset, which is for my phone. And we're going to get started on this. So let's get started so we don't take up too much time. So I was saying there's some new parts here that Scott was cool enough to send. So we're going to pull that apart. So there's my big old bits. So this is the fan as it comes. You can see he said he flies at an area where there is lots of dirt. So that's going to show up in the way the fan looks. So there are some nicks right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. There, that's better. Okay, sorry. So there's some nicks right in here. Move the light over so you can see a little better. These are from, hitting rocks and stuff. And there's some nicks in the leading edge. Some there. There's a nick in the trailing edge on one of them. Considering where he flies, this really isn't all that bad. But the ones that I worry about are these right here. Because those are the ones that can be a problem, because if it starts at the root, it's not good. So, but it does look pretty good. The motor's pretty big. It's a 750 kV. It says 4270. That's an outrunner, so it's good that it's long, because that means it's going to give you the extra torque that you need. So this is what he sent along with the fan. So you can see it's a brand new rotor. So we're going to swap that thing out, because I don't trust it. Now that it's been, I could balance it as it is right now. But oh, there it is, this big cut on the trailing edge right there too, which is not good. So that's why we're going to change it out for the brand new one. The brand new one has no issues. Everything's good. So let's go over how it is that I do this. I just use feel. And there's a lot of people that will take this out put it in one of those magnetic balancers and balance it. Get it good that way. And then they'll do the spinner, do the same thing, put it in a magnetic balancer and do it that way. And then it'll be pretty good. But then these two won't really work together until you actually have to go around and clock them and do it that way. So there's a couple ways to do this. My way is the easy way. I use, wait, I'll show you everything that I use. But you can balance this first if you want. But then once you balance that, you're going to have to balance the spinner once it goes on there. So let's see how bad it is first off. I just want to see how it sounds in stock form, and then I'll show you all the parts that I use to get these things balanced the way that I want. So let's plug it in. I'm gonna have to check out these ESCs too, because I see that this is a 160 amp 4S through 14S ESC. So that's kind of cool. Kind of digging on that. Check out the chat real quick. Wicked Moto, what is happening? How you doing, Damon? Oh, it's you. Yeah, I know who you are. Yeah, we were talking about soldering earlier, and then I had to go pick up the wife. So, yeah, there's Victor. There's a little fog damage. So, what would you want for the camera angle? I don't, because I'd put it on the table, but then if this table shakes like crazy, then I have to worry about it. So let's see. There. I don't want it to be. That should be a little bit better. But I don't want the camera to be on the table simply because it just starts shaking around, and then that's just painful to deal with. Okay, so these are the parts that I use just in case. I have pliers, I have the nut, the crescent wrench for the nut on the fan, pliers to possibly hold something that needs to be, sometimes you have to hold the adapter, tape, and scissors. Move this out of the way. So I have the ESC from the plane. Scott sent that to me. That's what, and then a servo tester. It has a built-in UVEC, so that's what's gonna be what powers this. But then I'm only gonna use a 6S pack, a screwdriver and a pen too. For that to say that. So we're gonna use that. I'll go up a little bit maybe. If that works a little better. I just don't want to show stuff that we don't need to be seeing. That's the only issue. So, yeah, I think you can see what you need to. So, let's get this thing run up and see what it sounds like. So, one of the most important things, I'm not doing it here because they get all fogged up. You should wear safety glasses. You should wear gloves. This is a big fan. I'm not going to do that today just because I wasn't really prepared to. But make sure that everything's clear. Get everything out of the way. Don't suck anything into here. Believe it or not, that stuff could actually get sucked in. So when it comes time to run this up, I'm actually going to push all this stuff away, or I'm going to run it in an opposite direction, away from everything. My cat hates the sound of these things, so she'll probably hop up and leave. But I am noticing that there is a little bit of stuff here in the back. So when I pull this off, we're going to get in there. So let's do that. I'm going to plug this thing in, make sure this is down. So you should wear gloves, should have a way to secure this. When you're doing balancing, you don't have to run it up. You don't have to go anything past a quarter. If you notice that there's making some noise higher in the rev range, you can balance it again, but don't ever run this thing up past a quarter in your hand. It's way too big. Even the 50 millimeter fans, running them up anything above a quarter is dangerous. So always use gloves, wear safety glasses, Again, I'm not going to do it today, but just because I don't have uh, access to the stuff that I need for right now. But do that to be safe. Safety first, right? Okay, so let's let us plug this thing in, see what it sounds like. So I'm going to push all this out of the way. Let's plug this thing in. Make sure to get it right. I'm using an old 5000 and a 6000 just in case. So it counted 6 cells. Again, move everything away. So, you hear all that buzzing. It is way out. So table is part of the tool so that you can hear the extra vibration. But almost all the vibration I'll feel through my hand. So that's where you start. So we know that it's way out of balance. And we know that there's nicks and there's other stuff in there. So let's unplug this. We're going to pull it apart because I'm not going to use this rotor because I don't trust it. It has been beat up a little bit. So there's other people that have done things on this fan. I think RC Informer. Is that loose or tight? That's loose. RC Informer did a something on this fan about how the spinner was blowing up, and the spinners are going to blow up if they are out of balance. It's already bad enough that they're plastic. This is a pretty thick plastic, so it should be good. But we're going to change all of that. So there's 2. This is the old one. I'm going to use the new one, but I'll make sure to separate the 2. So let's get this thing off. It's no problem. Now the cool thing about Outrunners is that you can hold the motor. So that's what I like about having it. Oh, that's already kind of loose too, so it's not good. I'm going to pull that thing off. That came off pretty easy. So since I've got this out, I'm going to check all the screws, make sure they're tight. And they are. So we're good there. All right. So that is off. So this is the old rotor. There's that big crack I was trying to tell you guys about. See right there. This is enough to make this thing disintegrate in the air. So, especially if it's out of balance. So this is going to get replaced. I won't even risk it with this. And not to mention the marks in here. So, that's the old spinner, old rotor. So let's actually talk about this too, because this is one of the things I dislike about Change Sun. Change Sun has a bad habit of using a crap ton of pitch on their fans. So what that does is it puts a lot of strain on the motor and on the battery. It does give you good high end speed, but it gives you mediocre low end, just because, and it makes it very susceptible to any sort of cavitation because of there being not enough intake air. So if you've got a lot of pitch, people that fly with propellers know this too. Props with a lot of pitch will honk or make noises because they're cavitating and can't get air until they get a lot of forward movement. These work the same, just slightly different. So with all this pitch, it's not good. Now once the XRP version of these came out, they flattened that pitch out a little bit and made it so that it was tapered. A lot of pitch towards the tip and less at the root, which gives you a little bit more blend of performance. So That's part of the reason why I don't like a change sun. But from what I've seen, this is still a decent fan, and it has an outrunner too, which I don't necessarily care for, but they work. So let's just leave it as it is, put it in there, and make it work. Let's see here. All right, so there is not very much room on the sides here, so I'm going to have to be careful. But let's put the washer on first, then you put this. Now, one of the things you usually have to do with this style fan, this style adapter, is hold the you have to hold the adapter, because when you tighten it gets to a certain point, the adapter will actually spin as you tighten it. So what I'll might have to do is get a yeah, see, it's already doing it. Get a get some pliers and hold this little part. Or I can do it this way too, but I don't know if that's going to work. No, I don't think I'm going to do it that way. No, that's because it's going to have to go the opposite direction. So I'm going to hold it. If I can get in there. Ooh, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. Sometimes I can do it by hand. Yeah, it's working. Okay. So I can hold this. Yeah, it's working. It's working. Okay, so all I have to do, I don't know if you guys can see, tighten this down until it's as tight as you can get it without everything spinning. So that is what I'm doing at the moment without slicing my hand. You got to be careful too, because sometimes these with the leading edge being sharp, that's a good thing. Trailing edge being sharp, that's a good thing. Bad thing about it is you put your hand in there, you're gonna cut yourself. You don't want to cut, so not that kind of cut. So let's tighten it down. We are, make sure it's not spinning. It's not. We're good. So get that as tight as you can get it. Make sure there's no rubbing or wibble wobble. I don't see any wibble wobble. So let's take this, put that on there. Let me check the chat. Let's see what's going on here. Wikimoto, they have actually gone through and made a habit of balancing most of the new freewing stuff. So if you notice that there's buzzing or you feel vibration, I'd balance it, but I think they've been pretty good from the factory. Wreck 'em Roy, yeah. So here, looking up, this is going to actually, from what I've noticed with most of these fans that are out of balance, you can lose as much as 10 amps of draw just by balancing the fans. And if the fan this size with that big outrunner, if it's out of balance, it's going to draw a lot more amps than it needs to. So once we get this thing done, it's just going to be better. So let's get this thing tight. I think the screw might be a little big, but we're going to make it work. It's all good. So there's the new rotor, the new fan, new rotor and spinner. So what we're going to do now is the baseline. This is where I'll just take one, get my marker. And this is black, but if you get a marker that's either red, green, or blue, it will still be visible on the black. So I'm just going to make a mark. Just choose any blade and just make one mark and then make that line. This is just your reference. With this big of a spinner too, I'll show you different ways to fine tune the balance as well, because once you find a spot that balances, you not only have that right area, just that one spot, you've got all these different spots in between until it balances. So what I found is that when I find a good spot, I'll actually take the weight that I have. I don't want to get too far ahead. I'll take the weight that I have and move it all up and down this line and see if it sounds any better. If it doesn't, then I'll move. But let's get into that part of it. So by doing the baseline, this is basically it. What I'll do is I set the line, I'll run it up, and then see how it sounds, and then I'll move this line over to the next fan blade, run it up, see how it sounds. If I start noticing that there's some that sound better or worse than the others, I'll make marks. And then once I get all the way through, I'll go back to those marks and figure out which one of those that I marked is the better of however many. And then that will be the one where you start the main balance for the whole thing. So, and then I'll show you about the weights and all the other stuff that we do. So right now, this is our balance starting point. This is our reference. This is just where we begin. So this is where it starts. This is where it ends. But we're going to go around every single blade on here and try to find a good spot. Sometimes you get lucky and that's all that needs to be done. You just have to move the spinner to get it to the right point. And when we get to the right sound, you'll hear it, and I'll be able to show you guys over the live stream what it's supposed to sound like. You'll hear it. It totally changes. The sound is completely different. It ends up going from like a zzz to it just sounds way better. So I'm checking the chat again. You guys got to give me some little bit of time to catch up on the chat. But I will look back at it from time to time. But check out what Garfield said too, because what he's saying about what he uses to tighten the stuff down is good. So we've got our spot, so let's get this thing running. So we've got all that turned down. Just gave us 6 beeps, so. Sounds pretty bad. So, one spot. Still crazy out of balance. So we're just going to move one blade over. Again, this is why you make a mark, so that you can have a point of reference. So, all right, so we ran up that once. Now don't squeeze it too tight because you're going to deform the fan and make it scrape. Still buzzy. So let's move on over. This is not my favorite screwdriver, but got to use it because there's the one that I like to use is not there. So, all right, so now we're on to the second blade. Still bad. Man, this thing moves a lot of air. Sheesh, and I'm barely even at not even an 1/8 throttle. So, again, guys, you don't need much RPM to figure out whether something's balanced or not. So, again, feels like it's getting better, but it's still not good enough for me to actually mark. So I'm going to keep moving. So I'm going to show you where I've moved it. So the line started here. I've already moved over there. So let's run this up. It's getting better. So I think I'm going to start making a mark. Just one little tick. That's all it is. And we're going to loosen that. Move it over. This is a nice big spinner too, so it makes it easier to grab. Sometimes when you get to the smaller EDFs, 64 and the 50s especially, some of these spinners are hard to move because they're super small. Yeah, it's sounding better. So I'm going to mark that one too. Just going to make one tick. That's it. And have alcohol handy too, because you'll use that to clean off this extra stuff once we get through this process. So I have some that I need to grab. to clean off all the... So this is funny too. This is something that I've noticed. Sometimes when you start on these, your reference point, it ends up being the blade that's 180 degrees on the other side is where your balance starts. Sometimes that happens. It doesn't always happen that way. Or as you're going around, the one that's right here or right here ends up balancing better, and it's taking you all that time to get to that point. So anyway, so now we're at the halfway mark. Let's see how this one sounds. Yeah, it's getting better. So that's 3 spots that I'm going to mark. Then we'll narrow that down once we get through all of them. So, going over, move it on over. Okay, so there. Now it's starting to get worse. Okay, so those 3 are probably good spots, but let's keep going until we get all the way through. Don't be tempted to hop around. Just stick to your plan of attack. That's starting to get bad again. So I'm not going to mark anything else. I'm going to stick to those 3. Again, don't forget this thing is powered, so be careful. Yeah, it's getting worse. But we're going to keep going because we're only 3 away from our reference point. So that. Might have rubbed on a wire there. That's not good. That's what I dislike about Outrunners too, is that you can get caught on the wires fairly easily. Alright, still not that good. So we're 1 away from where we started. Alright. Alright, so we know that one was not good, but we're going to go to that one anyway, just so we can see how it sounds. So I don't know if you guys can actually hear that through the phone, but there's the noise. So let's go back to one of those 3 that I marked. Start with the worst, or the last. Let's see how that one sounds. Make sure that wire's away. It's not good, but it sounds better. Let's go back to another one. I'll check the chat in a minute, guys. I haven't looked yet. That one sounds good too. I think they might all 3 be about the same. Let's go back to that first one because one of those sounded better than the others. I think that this is the one that sounded better than all of them. Let's see. No, they're all about the same, so I'm going to stick with the one in the middle. Let's just do that. Okay, so that is our main reference. So this one was just where we started, but this is where we're actually going to use as our main point of reference from here on out. So let me go get my alcohol. We're going to clean all that off. I'm going to unplug it. It does not need to be plugged in for this. So let me get my alcohol and check on. So use alcohol to clean off the permanent marker. Where did I see that paper towel? I saw a paper towel somewhere. Where did I see it? Where is it? Damn it. Where did it go? There it is. Okay. All right. Okay, so these spots we don't need. That spot we don't need. We're going to get paper towel, spray with some alcohol, go to the little marks, gone, gone. Then go to this one, gone. All right, there we go. So the mark we're going to make, as you can see on the blue wall, the mark we're going to make is on this other blade right here. So I'm going to cover this blade as much as I can with ink, just so that we'll know this is where we start and this is where it stops. This is the main reference point. Once we get everything balanced and then reassembled, sometimes I'll have to make variations a little bit off to the side here, but that is the fan blade that we will go to. So now that I've got that started, alcohol away. Missed my pocket. So let's see where to go. If you're looking at my butt, look away. So put that there. Oh, all right. So now we're going to make the weights. So this is a very primitive way to do it, but it actually has worked exceptionally well for all the things that I've done, all different types of fans. Doesn't matter the complexity, doesn't matter the cost, doesn't matter the composition. They all have benefited from this type of process. So I make slices like this and then cut those in half. Okay, those are your weights. What I usually do, the first couple that I do, I'll double up. So I'll put 4 or 5 of those doubled. Try to get them as straight as you can and as even as you can. This is not it's a mix of art and science, I guess. It's not really scientific, it's more artistic, I guess, but it ends up working really well. So this is what I do. I'll usually start out with like 6. Don't necessarily need all of those, but it helps to have them. So I hope this doesn't go on forever. It's already been going almost an hour. So hopefully I'll be able to get this quick. Actually over an hour. So I'll just do 4 this time. But if I need more, I'll just have to cut them to do it. But this seems really primitive, seems really like, oh, is that all it's gonna take? Is it gonna, yes, this is all it takes. And they do hold. And as long as you do it right, it's not gonna come off. I have fans that I balanced years ago that are still perfectly balanced with no issues. So that's 4 of the doubles, all right? And then I'll do 4 of the singles. And sometimes with these singles, I'll even end up cutting them in halves or quarters to fine tune. So this depends on what you want to do, but I'll just do 4 and get started. So I don't want to take forever. But we are going to get this fan balanced on the stream, so hopefully it won't take that long, but who knows. Sometimes you get lucky and you can put it all in one spot. Sometimes it'll be one, it'll just be a couple, because we're going to place different weights on this spinner here. Sometimes you get lucky and it's just like a light piece of tape in a certain spot and you're done. Other times it'll get good with a couple weights in one area, but it won't be perfect. So you stop and then you start the process all over, and then you fine tune it. I've had to use as much as 5 different positions just by feel, and it was up to 5, and then it was perfect. And sometimes I've had to use as little as just 1 in one area. But the thing is, not only do you have all these different spots by the fan blades, because technically there's 12, but if you cut them in half, there's 24. And if you go little increments, any other little increments, there's more balance points. But once you find the balance, what sounds good, then you can move anywhere within this line here, within this area, to make it sound better. So that's what I'll do too, and hopefully that's what we'll end up doing on this fan. So all right, so you can choose any area to start, but it's best to start with the air with your reference point because then you know where you started. So since this thing is so far out, I'm going to use two of these pieces. Now, you're not going to balance it perfect the first time, but the whole point is to notice a change. So let's put it on the middle here, on the line. Sometimes you get lucky, and the line's a good starting point. And again, since this is on the outside, be careful. Don't run it up more than a quarter, because that is all you need to feel any extra vibration. Let me check the chat now. All right, cool. So I'm glad I'm doing stuff you haven't seen before, Wicked Moto. And hopefully you guys don't get bored, but let's get this done. So again, this is by touch and feel. So it's touchy-feely. But if you guys have a hard time figuring out what works, don't beat yourself up. Not everybody feels the same. But using a table that's hollow or a table that's light is really good, and I'll show you here in a second, because you can use that to hear vibration. So, and that's what I was doing with it earlier. So keep that in mind. If you can't feel it, if you put it near the table and it's just barely off, and you hear it go zzz, that means that there's vibration. Once you get it good, you won't be able to tell the difference between it being on the table or off the table, or in your hand or out, whatever. This is an outrunner, so the outrunner, if it's not balanced, there may be a little bit of extra vibration in there, but you'd be able to tell the difference between motor vibration and fan vibration. But we'll get through that. So I got that placed. Let's get started. So everything's tightened down now. So we don't need to worry about a screwdriver now. This is all tight. This doesn't need to come off until we find our balance point. When we find our balance point, since it's marked, we'll mark around this, take it from the outside, put it on the inside, and then we'll check for balance again. So don't get confused, but that's a lot of extra stuff, but we'll get there. So, okay, let's plug this thing in, make sure it's down. Be careful, guys, too. Don't hurt yourselves doing this. This is a big ass fan. So notice how I'm going to be extra careful with the way I'm dealing with it. But again, you don't need to go over a quarter. So listen. Hear that buzz? That tells you that it's out of balance. So that's one spot. Didn't expect anything to change. We're going to go to the second spot over. Still out of balance. So what we're looking for now is a change. We're not looking for absolute balance yet. We're just looking for change. So about the same. And if you go all the way around and you don't hear a big change, use more weight and do the same thing again. So still sounding bad. It's probably going to do the whole complete opposite side thing, but it doesn't matter. You got to go one blade at a time. Do not force the process. Yes, it's still not sounding good, but we have already made it to the fifth blade over, so that feels better. So like I said, we're going to get about halfway and it's going to get better. So we're going to get here. You know what, it actually sounded better on 5. So let me go back to this one. And if it is, then I'll mark it. Does sound a little better there. So we're going to make one little tick mark. Tink, right there. So I already did this one, so we're going to go over one more. This is our original reference point when we first started. Let's see what it does from here. Nothing. So we're almost all the way back. Let's move back over. Sorry if you can't see the front of it, but you don't need to at this point. I'll show you. Still sounding bad. Alright, so if we get all the way back around and we notice it's still sounding bad, we just need to add more weight. Yep. Alright, so that, no good. So that actually does sound better. Feels better. Alright, so we're going to mark that one too. And what do you know, almost all the way back. But we'll mark it, tick mark, tick, right there. And what I said in the beginning was sometimes you go all the way around and you get to that one, the 11th blade just before your reference point. And that's where it sounds good. It kind of sounds like it's doing that. So, all right, so we already made it all the way around. So let's get another set of 2 and add to it. Because that wasn't dramatic enough of a difference. So let's start that process over. Now I made those marks as reference points. So let's see if we notice on those. Okay, I can feel a difference. So I can tell that those adding the extra weight did change something. So let's see. Alright, so we're getting somewhere. We've already gone around. This is 12 times around. Let's try again. Let's move over to this one. It just takes practice. I mean, not practice, patience. And then practice after that, but mainly patience. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm noticing change. Okay, so we're getting close to that tick mark that I made. And if we get to that tick mark and we notice that it's getting much better, it is. So once we get to that tick mark, I'll know that I'm going in the right direction. So then I will check all the different points in here and see, oh, let me do it this way. So this is the tick mark and this is the line. So I'll put the weight in all these different points on that tick mark and see if I notice change. Let's make sure those wires are away. Yeah, so that's better. Okay, so let's move it all the way to the top. Moving it all the way up there. That's the most outer point. That's where it's going to make the most difference. So that didn't do anything. Made it a little worse and move it back towards the front. So let's see, that did a little bit of a change, but not enough for me to like, so let's pull it off. Alright, not enough here. So let's go to here. Okay, so I'm going to go to my, I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to go to my tick mark. I'm going to keep on going. Nope, not changing. Not changing. So let's get to my tick. Ooh, that's worse. So I bet you when I get to the tick, it's going to get better. So let's try. Tick mark. Right there. Yep. Okay, so I did notice a difference there. So let me go all the way down to the front. See if I notice change. Nope. Let's go back. So sometimes it can be time consuming with these ones that are way out of balance. All right, so that's not helping. So the middle was better, but not quite good enough. That's better. All right, so we're going to add more weight in that good spot. I don't think it helped. But adding the more weight will sometimes help narrow it down a little more. Ooh, it sounds a little better. Okay, so let me go to all the way over to that tick mark that I'd made. See if having all that weight that I put on there now actually helped. It did. You notice that? Okay, so we're making progress. So see, you got to be patient. So I added 6 of the little pieces on that little tick mark, and it's getting better. So let me move up to the top. See how that does. It's better, but it's about the same. Let me move all the way up to the front. Yeah, it's better. Okay, so I know that, let's just add more to the center portion. Okay, so let me check the chat here. That's the thing that I forgot to tell you guys. Always use a high quality electrical tape. This is a high quality 3M electrical tape. This is Scotch. So I've used all different brands. This has been the best. Harbor Freight has electrical tape that they sell, and it's crap, absolute crap. The adhesive is terrible. So use a high quality. It can be any color, but use a high quality electrical tape. All right, so what's up, Noons? How you doing, buddy? So there you go. So we're getting there. We're getting somewhere. So I added more weight. Let's run it up and see what it does now. Oh yeah, we are improving. So just gonna add more weight. It's getting better and better. We're gonna add more. And if you notice that it's getting worse after doing this, you take it away. And I did. So I'm going to move it forward. See if that helps. That actually did help. Okay, so we're making more progress. So I moved it forward and it helped. All right, we're getting there. So that's, let's move it all the way up and see. Ooh, that actually sounds better. So what are we gonna do? Add some more. So you can hear the difference, guys. It was buzzing a lot before. It's not buzzing nearly as much now. So let's do another one. Right, so let me take that and move it all the way to the front. Nope, doesn't like it there. Likes it better back here. Better back there. That's actually easier to put on too. Yep, getting better. Add more. That's a lot of tape, but it doesn't matter. Add as much as you need to. The reason why I use tape is because it's easier to get uniform. You could use putty, you could use other stuff, but it's hard to get the quantities right. Yeah, it's getting better. Let's move it to the middle and see what it does there. Another thing too, with these weights, they're most likely to fly off when they're the furthest out. Just so you know. That sounds good. I think we're getting better. So now that we have that spot that we know, getting better. Let's move it to the back and see. Let's just do that again. Yeah, sounds the best furthest back. So I'm gonna keep adding till it gets worse. Once it starts getting worse, we'll take it back, and then that's gonna be our first weight point. Or that feels worse. So let me take it and move it over one more and see what that does. Worse. So move there, move back one, just for the hell of it, just to see. Ooh. Oh, okay. So I don't know if you guys can hear that. That was a big difference. Let me go back one more. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Doing way better. All right. So let me go back one more and see. Nope, that's getting worse. Okay. So we've got two new spots. So this is my original tick. Adding another tick, adding another tick. So this one I tried all the different variations I could, and it did get a little better, but I'm like, let me try ahead and behind. So I went to this one, sounded better. And this is only in one position, so if I move it anywhere in these other positions and it sounds better, it's going to get even, it's just going to get better. So now that I made those marks, let me try on those lines, see what happens. So another way you can do it, you can make a mark low, high, or whatever. I just happen to make them, once I figure out which ones I like, I'll get rid of the ones that don't and stick to the one that does. But, it depends on how you want to do it. Fine tune it, make it work. Whatever actually works is what matters. So make it work for you. Oh, yeah. That sounds really good. So I put it on the high point. I'm going to put it in the middle. And then put it in the front. And see. Nope. It's got to be in the back. Okay, so it's going to go back here. Let's run that up. It's really close right now. All right, so look at all that stuff stacked on there. Gonna make a couple more. That's why I usually do 6 of each, but I wanted to be a little impatient. So we're gonna make a little bit more. We're going one at a time now because the doubles were a little too much. Set those aside. And again, these are not the only way. You can snip those in smaller parts too once you start making progress. But from what I've found, you can get these things balanced just as well as doing it with an electronic machine. What I've noticed is I can actually balance it better than a machine. Just off of balance, just off the feel. So let's get another. That's 6. All right, try to get them as uniform as you can. That's the best way. All right, so get that. So look at that stack. It's a big old stack. But sometimes that's what it takes. So the wires out of the way, hands out of the way, all the stuff out of the way. Run it up slow. Oh yeah. We're almost there. I think one more and we're there. And then we will mark this and put it on the inside. Let's see how that works. Yeah, it's almost done. Let's try another. Let me look at the chat. Can you guys hear the difference? Because when I was rubbing it on the table before, you could hear all the buzz. Let me see what y'all are saying. So yeah, it's getting there. So Wreck 'em Roy, the F-35 actually is not that hard to do. You can do those pretty easy. All right, so and it's the exact same method I'm using right now. No different. It's just a smaller fan. That's the only difference. Smaller fan. So we're pretty much there. So if I notice it start getting worse, I'm just going to pull one away. But that's what it takes sometimes. It's a big old stack of weight on there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think one more and we're there. And then I'll make some minor adjustments to placement. And that got worse. So I'm going to pull one off. It's coming off. So that got worse. So just pay attention. Yeah, that's pretty much perfect right there. So I'm going to move it a couple spaces, just all these different areas on that one, all the different areas on this one line, and see if I can fine tune it that way. Furthest out is usually, you'll notice the most out, all the way out here instead of down in there. But for fine tuning, a lot of times in here will change too. We're gonna go back. So I'm gonna move a little off to one side instead of down the line. Okay, so that sounds okay. Let's go a little more that way. Nope, getting worse. So we're gonna go back forward a little bit. That's it. That's it right there. And I don't know if you can hear it, but there is a difference in the way the air moves once you get it balanced. So notice how much, once it's balanced. Okay, so I'm gonna make that mark. I'm not even gonna go any further. This is what you do. This is number one. This is your first balance. So sometimes, even though it sounds perfect out here, it might change once you get it on the inside. So what I'll do is I'll mark it like that, and I'll put number one right there. Okay, and I'll pull all that stuff off. I'll set it aside, and I'll write number one in there. And this one's going to be easy because it's right there. It's right there on the edge, so it won't be hard to place that. Okay, so this is your main reference point. So this is the way you need to line the fan up when you put that cone back on. So we're going to take this off. We're going to take that weight that I just put over there. We're going to put that weight on the inside in here. So another thing you got to do too, I have that alcohol. So let me just, to be safe, unplug while I'm doing all this disassembly. We're going to, oops, sorry to bump things. We're going to get the alcohol clean on the inside of the on the inside of this spinner. But that's why you mark it, so it's easy to get things back the way they were. Try not to touch the stuff that you mark too, because it can come off in your hand. So marks are made. So even if I pull this apart, I can put it back together the same way I pulled it apart. So you got to go inside here, clean it off with alcohol to make sure that the tape will stick. Now the benefit to doing it this way with the weight on the inside is that centrifugal force will hold it in place. So even though, you know, it's just taped in place, it's actually going to pretty much hold itself there permanently, unless you actually do something to dislodge it. So it's actually going to drive it into this more and more the faster it goes, which is good for you because then that means that this stuff isn't going to go anywhere. So what I'm going to do, since I had that one that was taking all the abuse, being moved around. I'm going to take one off, just one layer, and use a different one, just to be safe. I can pull two, whatever. Because if you make them uniform, it won't change much. It won't change at all, actually. But let's get that one piece off. There we go. So that we won't have a spot that's not sticky enough. So put that there. Okay. So now there's the mark. That's number one. You already cleaned the inside. You take this, you put it right where that mark is. That's it. Okay. And with it in here, especially where it is there, it's going to, as this thing spins, it's going to drive this even further in. So this should never move. And especially since you cleaned it with alcohol and made sure it was clean tape. So it should just stay there. All right, so take this line, line it up with that real big mark. Now this is another thing you might have to do too. You might have to do a couple, oh wait, it's got a lip. I got to move it a little further in. So it has a little lip in there. So let's move it a little further in so that it won't stick. There we go. All right, so what you might have to do here too is once you get this on, I'll show you. Sometimes you have to fine tune by moving it a little left or right of the line that you made. Sorry, I'm trying to do it where you guys can see. Yeah, sometimes you have to move a little left or right of the line to get it fine tuned. So, and also it's good to use Loctite, but it's hard to do it in a way where it doesn't sling. So you have to use a little bit of Loctite on the end of the screw and screw it all the way down, and then it holds. But so right, so there's the mark. There's the mark. Let's plug it in and see how we did. All right, 6 beeps for 6 cells. Make sure everything's cleared out of the way. Let's run it up. Pretty close. So let's do some fine tunage. Let's move a little. Oh, I wasn't online. Okay, I was a little off. So maybe that's why it wasn't perfect. It's a little buggy. So let's move it a little bit until you get it right. Let's try a little more the other way. And again, this is sometimes what happens. A little buzzy, so I'm going to go the other way. See, if not, we're just going to have to do a little bit more balancing, which happens. Once you put it inside, sometimes it changes. Nope. That's it. So I think we're there. Move a little more and try and see what happens. I might even go one blade over each way and see what happens. That's pretty close, so I'll go back to where I was. Back full, almost full blade and see what happens. Oh, nope, not that way. Let's move about right there. So there's still a little bit of noise. Some of it could be from the motor, but let's check on the chat here. You guys can hear the difference, right? And yes, Paul McNeil, exactly the same as you do with the spinner on a plane. Just takes a little bit more. Um, so yeah, as I was saying too, with everything on the inside, there's nowhere for it to go. It's just gonna, the faster you spin, it's gonna smash it more into the spot where it is. So it's permanently there. But since we got that, that's stage one. When you get one balanced like that, and it seems like everything's, perfect on the outside, but once you get it on the inside, it changes. So let's do a little more. And we might even just take one piece for this. So I'm going to start on the same spot in the middle. Wait. Let's go. What I meant was this spot, which is our mark. I'm going to go in the middle because sometimes it takes weight in multiple areas of different weights. So now I feel more comfortable going faster because it sounds way better. Let's move one down. And there might even just be one more on there. Let's try that on the spot we started. Let's see here, put that on the one. Almost there. It's making the right noise. It's just a little too buzzy for me. Just barely buzzy. But it's enough. That's for sure not it. Alright, so let's go back one. This motor's making a lot of noise too, so that could be part of it. But we're going to keep on trying. That's a cool thing about an outrunner too. You can just put your finger over there and slow it down. All right, so let's see here. That way. Keep on going. I'm just going to keep on going because now let's take this off and see. I'm still there. All right, so we went to this one. Let's go to that one. No. That one. Almost all the way around. This should notice. Let's move it forward. So guys, this sometimes takes a little time. You got to be patient. Yeah, I think a lot of that noise is the motor. It's way better than it was, but we're still hearing motor noise. The motor may not have been balanced. So there might be sound that's just basically the motor out of balance, and you can balance the motor, but that takes even more time, which we're not going to do today. All right, so let's move that up there. Let's go more over. I'm surprised my cat didn't move. Normally she hates these sounds. That's definitely not it. Okay, so I think we might need two. Because the one wasn't enough of a difference. It's significantly better than it was. It's probably 98% there. Because now I can run it up without it feeling like it's going to shake out of my hand, which I couldn't do before. Let's see here. Try one there. Alright, so let's try two. That might be what's missing. Oh, it could be it. Alright, so let's go to here. Let's try there first. This is the fine-tuned spot, guys, so it's a little tedious, but it is worth it when you get it right. Okay, so I think that two of them might be the key because it felt better. We're getting there. We're getting there. Just be patient. Almost there. If not, then we're just going to leave it. It's already considerably better than it was. So let's go back to here. I'm jumping around a little bit just because I have points that I remember in my mind that worked that I hadn't tried. Like that. Nope. So I think that might be it. Because the motor is making quite a bit of noise here. I'm using some of my old tick marks. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much going to be it. So let's pull all this tape, pull that extra tape off. That's pretty damn close. So I think that could be the motor. We'll go a little forward that way. Tighten that down. Not that way. Nope, nope, nope. We're going the other way. No, we can try a little bit more that way. Okay. Oh. We gotta go back. There. So again, we're just going on the line we already. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. We could sit here and fine tune. This is one of the areas where I'll take time. Oh, wait. Well, I'll take the time to go through and actually fine tune it, which is just a little bit extra work. But that's the majority of the work there. Sometimes you'll have to go along with another set of weights and go all the way around. I'm not going to do that now for time's sake because we've already been at this almost 2 hours. But we already got one spot. Sometimes you have to start that whole process over again with another set of weights until you get it absolutely perfect. The problem is this is an outrunner, and I don't know if this outrunner was balanced. I don't see any marks in there balancing it. So sometimes you have a hard time getting all that extra vibration out simply because this isn't balanced. So if you go through and you balance the rotor and then you balance the spinner, sometimes that helps, but you'll never get it perfect because this is not balanced. So I think that this is a good source of where most of that vibration is coming from now. But for the most part, this thing's good, and I can run it most of the way up. And you can hear how much better it sounds. And that also could be a timing thing too, because the timing might not be where it should be. So I'm not hearing a difference in sound off the table and on the table at certain RPMs. There's still a little bit left, but I'll go do this offline. I'll finish this offline. Probably not today, but I'll get it perfect, and then I'll show the final result. But it's really close right now. I could take the weight off and let you hear what it sounds like before. What it sounds like, what it sounded like before. We'll try just one in that same. So we'll try those two in that same spot. Let's see what happens. So that was it. So I need, let's try one more, and I think that might be it on the same spot. Let's just try a couple more. I think we're almost there. It just, there's a little, sometimes when you put it on the inside, it changes. So let's see. Oh, I'll try one here. I'm getting weird now. Let's try one there. I don't want to get too out of hand with it, but. There. Try one forward. Okay. Try this. All right, let's move all three of those to the front. Let's see what it does. Not it. Do this here. Nope. Over here. And that might be the key here. So anyway, I don't want to get too off track here, but sometimes that's what it takes to just take a little extra time going through all the different possibilities, and you'll get to the perfect point, and you'll know what's perfect because it will make a very specific sound, which is almost what it's doing right now. So oh, it's pretty close right now. Pretty dang close. Just me being a nitpicker. Oh, there it is. There it is. You can hear the sound changed. It started making a different airy sound. So anyway, that's how you do it, guys. It's, yeah, going down a rabbit hole. I don't want to do that. So we're going to leave it as it is right now because that's going down the rabbit hole, y'all. I'm gonna do it anyway. We're getting close. Almost there. Almost there. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Yep, that's it. That's it. That's it. So let me move forward a little bit. Yep. You hear the change in sound? See how the air sounds different? When the fan's balanced, it makes a different sound. It just did it right now. Yep. That's it. So it just made that sound change just because it hit the right. Yep. Hit the right. Once you get that right balance, it just makes this noise that you will know when you got it. And we just did it. So we're there. So that's why you mark 1, 2, whatever, because you might get to a different spot, and you have to mark it. That's it. All right, so there's another spot. 2. Mark that there. All right, so sorry to keep you guys waiting so long, but that's sometimes what it takes. So now we've got, see how close they are? But that's what you have to do sometimes. Let's unplug it. And let's get all that back. So 1 is there, is already there. 2 is a little off to the side. So 2 is going to be a little further forward. Sometimes what helps doing this is you put it on the back of the screwdriver. Just stick it up that way. That didn't work. It's not gonna work. But it just mess everything up. Okay, so go to number 2. Put it right there. That's it right there. Hold it off to the side. So there, just like that. See how it's like that? It's like that. That's how you want it. I hope you could see it. So see there and there. It's off to the side just a little bit. So let's put that, line that up there. And then go to here. Hope I didn't lose everybody and people fall asleep. I know there's people on the East Coast too with the different time zones. So thanks for sticking with me, all those of you that did. But this is all really rewarding when you get it right. And we pretty much are doing that right now. And again, might have to do a little bit of movement on that spot. Out of the way. Oh yeah, that's it. That's it. Perfection. The only thing you're hearing now is motor noise. Everything else is perfect. See the difference in the air? There's no noise when I put it on the table now. There you go. So Scott, your fan is officially fully balanced. The only noise that I'm hearing right now is motor noise. And that's not vibration, it's just the noise that it's making. So outrunners make noise. Inrunners make very little because there's less rotational mass. With the outrunners, you'll hear a lot more simply because there's so much moving around and because of the way that they're made. All the extra poles in there, all those cogs, see? Those poles just make noise. So I prefer inrunners because everything's internal and really small, and there's usually only 4 poles, so there's less noise. You know, it's like a, yeah, oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it, we're done. So there you go, guys. That's how you balance the change ton fan. It took a while. Doesn't always take that long, but it did take a while for that. So there you go. So Scott, I'll get this packaged up and sent back to you. Um, but that's it. So there's the marks. That's what you do, guys. It's just, and you don't have to ever mess with those. What I'll usually do is go through and reinforce the marks that I made, just so that they won't come off. One, this, oops, two, and then I just do that so that I know that those are there. But that's it. I'll make sure that this is wrapped up and nice and in good hands and get this sent back to you, and you will notice a huge difference when you put it in. Now, one thing that I've noticed the most with these, with the big fans, especially with outrunners, is that once you balance them, the amp draw goes down by up as much as 10 amps. So it's not having to try to spin it all weird. It's just spinning it right around, and it takes the amp draw down. You get more RPMs, so it ends up going faster. So, um, yeah, that's it. There you go. Be sure to keep these wires clean and try to keep them out of the airflow as much as you can too. But what I'd like to do is find a freaking in runner for this thing, because this is a 42 size. I bet you even a 40. This is probably the same size as what a 40 millimeter motor would be. So anyway, there you go. So let's get that out of there. Um, let's turn the this camera off, and then I will get back to the other mic. So be right back. Oh crap! Sorry, I didn't mean to kick it like that. Anyway, let's get on out of here. All right. So sorry for the long drawn out. I hope you guys can still hear me. But that's what it takes to get it balanced. Not too bad. That one took a little longer just because it was pretty far out. So when they're bad like that, it sometimes takes a little bit longer to get it done. But yeah, it worked. So there you go. Hopefully the camera angle didn't drive you crazy. Um, uh, that's what it do when it do it. So any other questions, guys? If you have any questions, and you can refer back to this anytime if you need to. That's the bigger fan. I haven't done I think maybe I've done one big fan like that, but it's been a long time. Actually, no, it was bigger. It was a 120, but that was a long time ago. So yeah, it's the little things. It doesn't take much. I could have actually started cutting those strips even smaller and putting them places to make it better. But at that point, it doesn't matter because the motor's going to make noise anyway. You'd have to balance that motor to get it to be perfect. So I've been going for over 2 hours, guys. I don't want to keep everybody up too long, but I do like helping. So hopefully that's able to help somebody, especially you guys that have the aerofoam planes, which are pretty cool. And you don't have to go with the crazy high-end motors. Now, if you want a really well-balanced fan out of the box, those JPs are pretty good. They're outrunners, those. I don't really care for outrunners. So you still will hear that extra noise, but they do work, and they're very durable. So Scott, if this thing ends up giving you a hard time, the JP might be a good option just because it's a lot more durable with the metal fan blades on the dirt. Um, so, um, for the chat anymore. But so Reckon-Roy, it takes time. So like I said, you get one spot, you get it to where it sounds the best, leave it, and then start with another set and go around. It takes a while. So if they're bad enough, sometimes it'll take time. It won't just happen right away. It takes a little bit of time. I do have quite a few of the freewing that I balanced. I balanced the one that I put in my F-35, and it made a big difference. Hopefully my camera's not freaking out. But anyway, there you could change the motor to something else. I'm sure that there's other motors that would work. I haven't looked to see, but the difference now, see, this is where they mess you up. They put big shafts on those things, so it might be an issue with that. Just because they have the adapter is a 6 millimeter, a 6 millimeter shaft, and not many motors, not many of the Inrunners have that size. They're either 5. It's 5. Some of them are 6. So Paul McNeil, as I was saying, the for the flyovers, it was V22s. I put it on my Instagram. I think I might put it on my Facebook too. V22s and C-17s, and then we've had F-35s. I missed the F-35s for the last game, but it's the since it's the playoffs, they're going to have lots of cool stuff. This coming weekend, we're going to have a C-17 flyover for the 49ers, but I'm going to be flying, so I'm probably going to miss it. But we have the president here and the vice president surveying the damage on the coast, so that's why we've got V-22s. It's the presidential V-22 and the presidential UH-60. So that's been kind of cool to see. And Air Force One will be here tomorrow, and I don't know if it's going to be the 757/C-32 or if it's going to be the 747. It'd be cool if it was a 747, but I think it's going to be the 757. And again, Air Force One is whatever plane the president's in, so it could be any one of those planes that they use. And yeah, the FMS fan, especially the 1900 kV, it's just better all around. The 30 millimeter motor, it's just better all around. The F-35 benefits big time when you put a bigger 80 millimeter fan in there, though, when you do it the way that I did. So anyway, and yeah, the NOTAM is there, so they're coming to you too, then most likely. There's dignitaries going all over because he'll start in LA and then move his way up. And yeah, Rick and Roy, I had the 747 fly right over my house in 2014 or 15, and it was less than 1,000 feet. I've had the 757 come in as Air Force One. I think there was a 787 at one point. I don't remember. But yeah, so because I know that the California coast was hit pretty hard with these storms, so they're surveying the damage and they're going to help with some form of aid, most likely. Because they did that in the Midwest and other places too. So if any of you guys follow my Facebook page, my regular Facebook page, I'm going to put a lot of my flyovers on there. Rick and Roy, yes, my F-35 has an 80 millimeter fan in it. I had to do some work to get it in there, but it's in there. Are you guys getting glitchy? Is it glitching at all? If it is, let me know. But so that's it. Appreciate you guys hanging. Yeah, Santa Cruz got beat up. Capitola got beat up. I think Half Moon Bay is okay, but I know places down south got hurt. So yeah, and we've got more coming. You're welcome, Paul McNeil. Glad it. Again, I want my show to help people. I don't want it to be about me trying to push stuff and sell it. if there's stuff that I can help you with that'll make your experience with RC better, that's what I want to do. But that doesn't mean I have to sell anything to you. It just means to help show you stuff that I know. Although it would be cool if you guys bought some of these. But all that stuff is in the description if you want. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to help. So if you guys got questions about anything, you want questions for show, have ideas for shows, you can always put the shows you can always put those suggestions in the comments for these shows or any of my videos. I'm going to be posting another tomorrow of the T7A maiden flight. So I'll upload that tonight and have it set to drop tomorrow so that we can watch that. I'll do it as a premiere because it's going to be 8 minutes long. So yeah, so I'm here to help and here to share what knowledge I have and try to make your RC experience an enjoyable one. I don't like seeing people crash. Crashing does help you learn, but if there's a way that I can keep you from crashing, that's what I'm going to do. I want you to learn, but I don't want you to destroy your stuff because things are expensive. And Gooniac stacks, EQRC, he's not on here, but he sent me an email. He posted videos of stacks too, so I need to get those things posted or shared so people can see it. And I just looked at my computer, it says rain coming. So we've got more rain on the way. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it, y'all. Appreciate everybody. Thank y'all for being here. And I'm going to get on off of here. I'm going to leave the chat up for a few extra minutes, but then we will sign on out. So thanks to y'all for being here. If the weather is good, I will do a live out at the field on Saturday. Just depends on the weather. If it's too windy, I'm not going to bother. But maybe I'll see you guys then. So I'll leave the chat up for about another 2 minutes, and then we will shut this down. So thanks for being here, guys, and adios.